We are in the Y'all 106.7 studio. Welcome, Gretchen Wilson.
Hey.
Thanks for coming in today. This is amazing. Thank you.
Me.
This is so cool. So you've been busy. You just won the Masked Singer. That's incredible. That had to be a blast.
That was something that I never thought I would do. Get all dolled up in a very cheeky, girly kind of an outfit,
Sure.
and all the choreography and the dancing and so on. And they had asked me to do it a couple of times in the past, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I wasn't really ready at that point in my career. And when they asked the last time, I thought, you know what? I'm going to give this a whirl and see if I can do this. And if I can do this, then I don't know what I can't do. So, I mean, I was kind of at that like tipping point of whether or not I should be still going or if I should be hanging it up, with my career.
We're a long ways away from that.
Well, I'm 52 years old. There comes a point where you have to go, well, what do I still have to give? Am I finished? Is there more I need to say? Do I just step aside at this point, make room for everybody else? And so that was kind of a sort of a lesson for myself to see if I still had what it took.
No, you got a lot left to give.
I did not go out there thinking I would win. But once I got to a certain point, it was like, you know what? I ain't going home now. I'm just going to stick it out and see what happens.
So you were totally invested at that point because it's hard. The costumes are heavy. They're sweaty. You can't see out of them. It's difficult. This is not easy to go out and perform.
It is not. And actually, it's really great for somebody who the following year thinks, well, I'm probably going to be singing in 112 degrees in like Yuma, Arizona in July. So like this is really good. This is good
training.
Practice. Yeah.
That's awesome. But it was a great experience.
It was a great experience. It taught me a lot about myself. It actually, I think more than anything, it finally gave me some kind of. I've always been worried that being the redneck woman just wasn't enough. I've always been worried that that being labeled as the redneck woman, and I think a lot of people still see that as such a demeaning term. I think a lot of people equate redneck with racist, and that's just very wrong. That is
not the case.
That is not. What it means. It's not what it was ever meant to mean. And now I see it and hear it more even in movies and stuff. You'll hear somebody just use it in a negative kind of a derogatory way. And it's like, man, am I the person now that's supposed to be going out there setting the record straight? Maybe that's me. Maybe because I'm the redneck woman, it's up to me to let everybody know that it's not what you think it is. It's about being outside in the field and working all day long and so long that when you get home, your neck is red, So being on The Masked Singer gave me an opportunity to kind of put that aside and because that's always been a worry of mine. It's always been like, I'm not enough because I'm just the redneck, and to win a show like that and to have people recognize me in that sort of an arena, it I guess for lack of better words, it was a confidence builder for me. And you wouldn't think that after 20 plus years in this industry that I would need anything, like that to make me feel whole. But it did. It made me feel like I was a part of this industry, and I hadn't for a while.
Well, I'm sorry to know that you felt that way, but I'm glad that you have those feelings back, that you are part of the industry and a big part of it. But let's go back to the beginning and talk about how you became a big part of the industry. You're going to re-record the album that kind of that started everything.
Yeah. So, I started my own record label several years ago, and I've put out a few records on that label, but it's really exciting to me to go back and to re-record the first album, the record that had several releases and big hits off of that record. But I'm going to do it with other artists. So I'm going to get a guest vocalist on each one of these songs. Some of them are up and coming, but definitely names that you all know very well. And others are friends that I've had for a long time, other names that you also know very well. I don't want to give away any secrets, and I don't want to tell too much. I think the one that I can safely say and that almost everyone would expect is that the amazing original, maybe probably more redneck than I ever thought about being woman, Tanya Tucker, will be on Redneck Woman with me. So that's going to be a really special moment to be able to share that song with her. It's really kind of the inspiration for it all. Any woman that's like her. That's the women that I grew up with. These are the women that we're celebrating in that song. So a couple more like her, a couple more, like I said, that are just now beginning to top the charts and that are making waves and news everywhere. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to be able to do with each one of these songs. I'm planning to treat each song like its own thing. I'm not trying to make a record that sounds like the last one. Obviously, the songs are familiar, but I want each artist that I bring in on each song to make it more of their story as well. So I can't wait to see where it goes.
So we're all a little older and a little wiser. But do you ever have that moment where you just
the older part's right.
you want to call up, John and say, let's get back on the bus. Let's go be crazy again. That had to be an amazing time.
Ooh, we
being
had
out
enough of those years. I think we're calling each other saying, how's the kids? How's the family? Aren't we lucky we survived? We're definitely the same people that we always were. We're just we've graduated a little bit. Like you said, we're a little smarter. I think we appreciate all of the amazing opportunities that we've had in our life a lot more than we used to. We were too busy then to even recognize how lucky we were. And now, we sit around and we actually talk about it quite a bit, how fortunate we are and how few people actually have a 20-plus year career and that still get to go out there and still do what they love to do for a living. Going out there this last 6-8 months and going back to some of the venues that I haven't played in 15 years and watching the crowd and the reaction and it's been overwhelming for me. Honestly, there have been a few times on stage where I've had to choke back the tears because you cannot cry and sing. It just doesn't
it's difficult.
work. Yeah, it just doesn't work. And they don't understand. They're like, "Why'd she sound like crap today?" Well, because you got me all verklempt. But yeah, I've had moments on stage where I'm just in shock, and in awe of them sticking with me through all these years.
Well, you've got something really big happening. Kicks off tonight.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really cool. It's The Road on CBS. Let's talk about that a little bit. First of all, how did you get involved in the project?
So Taylor Sheridan and Blake Shelton and a couple of the other producers were sitting around trying to fill the final position for this program, and they needed a tour manager. And the way I heard it is there was discussion in the room about what they were looking for. They needed somebody who was going to be tough and stern, but also soft enough to understand, kind of what each one of these musicians is going through in this moment in their lives. And I think the way I heard it was Blake just kind of stepped up and said, "Well, it sounds to me like you just described Gretchen Wilson." So I got the call, and with, just a couple of weeks to spare, I said, "Sure, I'm in. Don't tell me what the gig is." And so I showed up and kind of on the fly, just really, they got me up to speed on what was happening, and I got to meet all of these incredible musicians, and I didn't know a whole lot about them, each one of them, when we got into that first episode, but as we film and as we go through, I got very invested in all of them, really. They all felt like my kids, even though there wasn't a lot of age difference between me and a couple of them. I still felt like their mom in some way.
And this is a contest. There's a prize. You can win $250,000. You get to open for Keith Urban, which is amazing.
That Stagecoach.
And it's got those elements to it, but it's a completely different show than what we're accustomed to seeing in this form. So how does that work?
Well, it's different, I think, mostly because of Taylor's involvement. Taylor Sheridan he's brilliant with filmmaking. This is a show that had 13 cameras. It was not a little bitty deal. I had my own producer following me everywhere that I went. Everything was being filmed. It's a lot more behind the scenes than any other show of its kind, and I don't think we've ever been really. The audience has never really been afforded to be in there that deeply. The way that Taylor is putting this show together is so much more about the musicians, the artists, and it's like I said, this isn't they didn't get to go to bed every night in a fancy hotel where they were sitting still. We gave them the real deal. That's why this thing is so different. We put them on tour buses, and they slept going 75 miles an hour down the road. They were at a different club. Every show was at a different venue, different audience, different feel, different size. It was a lot more realistic to what being on the road is really like. And I don't think any of these other shows actually have tapped into the realism of what being on the road. And that's why the name of the show is perfect. It's not the show, it's the road, because the road is difficult. And you have to have a lot of gumption. You got to have a lot of determination in order to live this kind of life. It is not the glamorous life that a lot of people like to think it is. People ask me all the time, "What'd you think of our little town?" It's like, well, I wish I could tell you, but I parked by the dumpster like I always do, and I walked in through the kitchen like I always do, and all I saw was the inside of this bar. I didn't see your town. I'm sure it's lovely, but that's just not. Yeah, it's not a party for us. It's a job, and it is. It's strenuous. You always have to be on. God forbid you should get the sniffles. Nobody understands that, And I think I allude to it on the show that even a brain surgeon gets to call in sick. But people in an audience do not understand. They just don't understand that you're not well enough to come out here. I bought a ticket. What are you talking about? This doesn't get to happen again next week. I want you right now, and I need you to be who I thought you were. And sometimes we just don't feel like that. And so it is a very strenuous way of life.
But you got to mentor these contestants.
Yes.
You got to help them through some of these struggles. What was the most rewarding part of that?
Watching their faces, just, like just seeing the excitement in their eyes when they knew that they gave it everything they had. And that's a feeling that you can't top that feeling. And even if you go up there, sometimes you're not the greatest one. There's always somebody better than you. At everything in life, there's always going to be somebody that can kick your butt. But knowing when they knew they gave it everything they had, when they knew that they gave the performance of their lifetime, seeing that on their face, that makes it so worthwhile. And I know that each one of these artists are going to have a huge future. And it doesn't matter where they placed on this show, just the opportunity for America to see them and to hear their original songs. Oh, the songs are so good. It is going to blow people's mind. These people reached way down deep into what they know and how they lived and wrote songs that will, some of them are going to get you up on your feet and jumping up and down, and others will have you crying your eyes out. The songs are amazing. The originality of the music in this is another thing that sets it so completely apart from anything else.
Because they got to do originals.
They had to do originals.
Yeah. So you're invested, obviously, in each one of these individuals.
Yes.
How hard is it to say goodbye when, the votes don't go their way?
It's really hard, and there were a couple of instances where I actually was, and I don't know how much of it will be used. Like I said, there was a lot of cameras filming everything all the time, and you can only fit so much into, a 1 hour program. So I don't know how much of it will be. But there were times where I was on camera having to say goodbye, and it was just waterworks. And it was those things where I know I'm crowding up this microphone, and there's no way they're going to be able to use this, but I don't care because I'm going to miss you.
Real.
And but I will see them all again, and I think the world's going to see them all again. And like I said, I traded phone numbers with some of them, so I got a little too far invested, I guess.
Oh, that sounds good. So here's a question. You gave them all great advice.
I hope.
If you were to look back on your early career, what advice would you give yourself?
Ooh, slow down. Slow your roll, Peanut.
Yeah.
I thought I had to do everything all at once. And I thought I knew better than everybody because I knew me and nobody else knew me. And so probably if I could go back, and I would say stop being such a stinker, shut your mouth every once in a while and open your ears, because these are people that are working around you that also have some talent. They may not do what you do, but they are good in their field. And if their field is the record business, then shut up and listen to them for a minute. I thought I knew everything. Because of the life I lived and the way that I'd had to take care of myself, I just figured that nobody knows it any better than I do. And looking back, I could have done, I don't know that I could have done better, but I would have had an easier time with some things had I just realized that I'm not the know-it-all that I think I am.
I think we all could use that advice. So Thanksgiving's around the corner. What are you most thankful for?
Oh, I'm most thankful for my daughter, for the life that God has given me, all the chances, all of the patience. I'm thankful for so many things, but just I would have to say, mostly, I'm most thankful for God, for His patience and for giving me my child. There were many years that I didn't think that motherhood was going to be in the cards for me, and I was just so fortunate. I got everything I ever wanted, and that was to be a mommy and to be a country music singer. And not really sure why I've been rewarded all of these things, but I'm going to just keep trying to be a good girl and pay my respects and just be thankful for what I do have.
The show, again, tonight, The Road.
The Road.
Everybody should check it out. This is going to be very cool.
And there's a ball game, and sometimes ball games go long. So, if they cut into it, I'm pretty sure that the show will air in its entirety. So if you're taping it, tape it to run a little longer than you normally would.
That's good advice right there, right? Mm-hmm. So how would the best way for people to stay in touch with you? Social medias, website?
Yeah, there's GretchenWilson.com, and then my daughter took over all the social sites. So, I just kind of basically rely on her. She comes over and tells me what to do, and she's like, "I promise, Mom, it'll be funny." And I'm like, "Okay." But yeah, so I'm at GW27, and any of the ways that you think you're going to be able to find me on social media, that's probably where I am. I did finally get all my blue check marks, so be looking for the the one that's the check mark one that's really me. There's a lot of imposters out there.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, that's why I always ask.
Every other day I'm in the hospital. I've been in some sort of a massive car accident, and I have to check myself sometimes. I'm like, oh yes, I'm okay.
I'm okay. It's all good. So I heard you say earlier about a couple crazy moments on stage. So I have to ask, the craziest moment on stage.
Oh my goodness. Well, one time I fell. I came out on stage and I thought I was going to be some superhero and jump over an amp as I was starting my song, and instead I slid on my shoes and busted my butt. So I left the lyric to reflect that, and I said, I'm an 8-ball shooting, falling on my butt, son of a gun. Yeah. Other things that are strange, I've had people tossing their babies at me on stage.
That is strange.
That is weird. I don't know what it is. Moms and dads bring their little newborns out to the show, and they think that the kid wants to be there, and they don't.
No, they don't.
And I can tell because the baby always cries.
Yeah. Especially if you're being tossed at someone.
Well, and it is awkward. You're in the middle of a show, and it's like, needs a diaper change. Here you go, Mom. Yeah, people are a little bit crazy. That's why they call it fanatic. It's short for fanatic.